Okay. Sorry about that. When I adjusted the resolution on the computer in the settings for OBS, the OBS program crashed, and so we lost it for just a second, but now we're back. So I appreciate your guys' patience. Thanks for sticking with it. We usually have one or two mishaps once in a while. We're allowed one every now and then. So what we need to do now is I need to go into the editor so that I can see what I'm doing. Awesome. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go into we're going to verify that the chipset is already set to SATA RAID mode instead of AHCI. That is needed so that we can do the hardware RAID. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into peripherals and down to the RAID Expert 2 configuration utility. We're going to go to controller management to rescan for disks. It does take a little bit. It sees two. It shows that they're non-rated because they were on a different RAID controller in the past, which means that they're not going to be compatible with this one. You can use a program like if you need to do a RAID recovery or if you need to get your files back from a RAID, you can use a program like RAID Reconstructor. It's a little bit of an expensive program, but it can virtually reconstruct your RAID via software. You just plug all the drives into the computer via, like USB adapters, and it will try to disseminate what type of controller they were on, what type of formatting they were using, and what the arrangement was, and then it'll try to piece your RAID back together for you in software so that you can recover to a single drive, reconstruct your RAID, and then put all your data back on. So software like that is pretty cool. It's good to have. So we're going to go ahead and delete all of the information that's on this. I do like this because it warns you like a million times before you're able to delete your RAID, because deleting the RAID, which is supposed to be for redundancy, it doesn't want to leave any room for accidental slip-ups. So that's a very good thing. We're going to go back into our peripherals, back into the RAID Expert 2 configuration utility. Now we're going to go down to physical disk management. We're going to view the disk properties and make sure that they both say that they're ready. We have physical disk 01, which does say that it's ready. Now we're going to go over to, let's see here. Yoast, when did you follow me? Didn't you follow me the other day? Is that live? Just a second. Yeah, okay, that was yesterday. Awesome. Okay, so this is the physical location according to the motherboard where this disk is. It does say that it's ready. We're going to go back a step and check the operations. They're good. We need to initialize both of these, so we're going to set both of them to enabled. This will allow us to initialize them in the BIOS so that we can make them member disks of the RAID. Alright. Now when you convert something into a member disk of a RAID, it wipes it out. There's no way around that. That's why if you're moving a RAID from one system to another, you really have to back your data up onto something else and then reconstruct your RAID and then move your data back on. RAID is great for redundancy. Moving a RAID from one motherboard to another, not so fun. You can avoid that problem if you use controller cards, which is why a lot of companies and a lot of individuals that want high-level RAID systems like RAID 5 will use controller cards, because first of all, RAID 5, again, typically isn't available on consumer RAID cards. So they get cards so that they can do things like RAID 5, and then when they need to move it, when they upgrade their platform, like from the 4th gen i7 to a Threadripper, which is 5 or 6 years newer, then when you switch it, you can move that controller card over to the new motherboard and keep the RAID intact, so that you don't have to do much except make your operating system work with a motherboard, which for Windows 8 and 10 almost always happens immediately, which is fantastic. Especially when you're using a RAID controller, most of the time the reason that the hard drive won't boot is because it doesn't have the drivers to initialize the RAID or the hard drive correctly, depending on what controller it is that you're using, whether it's an Intel controller or a Marvel controller, etc., etc. Whenever you move your RAID over or your drive over, it doesn't know how to initialize the controller because it's not looking for that controller, it's looking for your old one. But if you have a hardware controller that plugs in via PCI Express, then when you move that controller over, it boots up automatically, and that's what happens 99% of the time when you use external controllers. So there's a benefit of using those. I don't use them very often because nobody needs one, but in 2012 I did build one with an LSI controller. It was super cheap. It was called like Super RAID or something, and I created a 500 gig RAID 0 array. I striped 428 gig Kingston HyperX drives. Worked fantastic, loved it, it was awesome. So when I upgraded my platform, I actually sold the drives, so I didn't get a chance to prove that I could move the whole controller over and keep the RAID intact, but I upgraded to an NVMe drive, so I really didn't need it. Anyway, I initialized the disk while I was talking, so I'm going to go ahead and redo that again just to show you what I did. We're going to enable that. Come on. I'm doing all this with the mouse. I really prefer the keyboard, but I'm at such a low sitting height by comparison to where the keyboard is right now, which is basically under my chin. It's completely under my chin right now. So we're going to go ahead and put these disks into the RAID by turning them into member disks. This says eligible physical disk for conversion. So these are physical. We're going to convert them from non-RAID into RAID members. So now we're going to hit OK. It's going to warn us that it's deleting all the existing data on the disk. We're going to hit yes, and if you guys see my eyes floating around, there is like thousands of mosquitoes running around right now because of the rain that we had last week. So they're like literally everywhere. We've got a bug zapper coming, and I think I'm going to put it like right next to the microphone, and then every time a bug gets zapped, we're gonna celebrate. Isn't that right, Aaron? Yeah, we've got Aaron over there holding down the fort. We need to put a thing for him. Anyway, so what we're gonna do now is we've initialized everything, so we're gonna go back, and we're going to go back again. And then we're going to go to the array management, create the array. We're going to do RAID1. And we're going to select the disks. And we're going to enable both. Now that they've been initialized and they've been converted into RAID members, now we have to tell them that they're in this particular array, because you can create multiple arrays on the same controller. So you can create, you know, two RAID 1s out of 4 separate drives, and you can have a RAID 1 mirror for your OS and programs, and then another RAID 1 mirror for your data. But RAID isn't really a backup, it's just more of a like zero downtime thing. You would want to have a RAID 1 for data if you're working with like video files or you're using it for production, and you literally don't even have the chance to get another drive, change the drive letter, all that stuff. It's just easier to do it that way, but you should still have a backup. We recommend either a cloud-based backup. We kind of recommend both. If you're using it for production, you get a cloud-based backup like Carbonite or Cloudberry, and then you have like a local backup, which could be direct attached storage. The reason why we recommend both is because file availability is instant when it's local, and then cloud availability is great because they keep up with things like versioning. And so like, let's say you have files dating back for 10 years, and every month they create a new version of files for you, and then every 5 months they start deleting the old version so that they always have 5 historical copies. Like, let's say you have 5 copies, I got a copy made today, or like every 5 weeks we'll say, and this coming week I get hit with a crypto virus. Well, my local backup might be compromised, so I can restore from a week ago from versioning on Carbonite and get all my stuff back. So versioning is really, really useful, but it's not 100% foolproof to have your stuff in the cloud either, because there was a cloud backup service last year that got hit. Their entire data center in the Midwest got hit. They lost millions of files, but luckily they had redundancy, so they were one of many backup services, or one of many backup sites, and they had all the data backed up somewhere else, but they got hit with a crypto virus and it encrypted every single file that they were backing up. So holy shit, it happens to everybody. Alright, so we've got both disks in, so we're going to create one single RAID 1 mirror from these two drives. We're going to go ahead and apply the changes, and it's going to show us all the things that it's going to do. I'm leaving all of this as default. It is showing us that the array size is going to be about 1 terabyte. This is in megs, but we're going to leave it this way. We don't really need to separate it into pieces, but you can do that if you decide to do that here. I don't ever see a reason to do that with a RAID 1 mirror. It doesn't make any sense, especially when you have drives that go up to 10 terabytes now that are rotational. I don't see a reason not to use the whole thing. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and create this array. Alright, so now we can go back into it to manage the properties, and you can see that the RAID is ready under the array status. It is RAID 1. RAID, by the way, for those of you that are just tuning in, stands for Redundant Array of Independent Drives, or Redundant Array of Independent Disks, depending on who you talk to, what kind of lingo they use, all that stuff. So the redundancy is needed for production computers or people that literally cannot be without downtime, such as this computer, although we've had it for about a week. He did say he needed it tomorrow, so we're streaming late at night tonight. Alright, it's going to be nice and cool here today. We can see what disks are in here, that's fine. These are in here already. I'm not sure why we can enable or disable these, but it's probably so that we can view their properties. Let's see here. I think Gigabyte needs to work a little bit on the way that they do the structure of their RAID setup, but the RAID is created. That's all good and well.
You are recreating it?
Yep, yeah, I'm recreating it with his 2 1 terabytes. He already called me earlier.
No, I know. Yeah, I was just... Guys, even I haven't seen Mark do this, so I really have a special treat tonight.
Oh, yeah. I don't get to create a RAID often.
You shouldn't, ever. In the first place.
Yeah, you should. There's several reasons to create a RAID.
There's a server, correct?
Servers, and then people that...
Not if you're storing important stuff, though, correct?
Well, no, a RAID is even more important when you're storing important stuff. A RAID 0 is not a true RAID. There's no redundancy in RAID 0. And every drive that you add to a RAID 0 stripe increases...
Are you doing a RAID or a RAID 0?
I'm doing RAID 1, which is mirroring. So there's different RAID levels. Let's talk about that for a second. There's different levels of RAID. The two most basic forms that most people understand are RAID 0, which is striping, where you have 2 drives, and instead of getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all bits of data on one drive and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all bits of data on another drive, where you basically have a terabyte and a terabyte, and instead of having 2 terabytes you still have a single terabyte, but you have everything is basically on here twice, so that if one drive fails you still have another backup over here.
That's the best way.
That's RAID 1. RAID 1 is considered the least efficient RAID method for redundancy, because every member drive that you add is basically just replicating what you already have. So in terms of cost to space efficiency, it's very inefficient because you don't get a lot of space for the amount of drives that you have, and you have to add them linearly. The other RAID type that most people are familiar with is not a RAID at all. It's kind of an oxymoron to call it a RAID because, again, RAID stands for Redundant Array of Independent Disks, and there's no redundancy in RAID 0. So in RAID 0, what happens is you have a 1 terabyte drive and another 1 terabyte drive, and you get 1 bit, 2 bit, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Each drive gets half the data. So in order to write something, it writes it half to this one, and it zippers them together basically, so that you cannot read a whole file without both drives. Now this is interesting because whenever it writes the data, it can write to both of the drives at the same time, and whenever it reads the data, it can read the data at the same time. So it basically doubles, theoretically, it doubles the amount of performance that you get, or triples it if you have 3 drives, or quadruples it if you have 4 drives. It linearly increases your performance based on the number of drives you attach to the RAID array. But it also exponentially increases your likelihood of failure, because if one of those drives starts going bad, your entire array is defunct and you can lose everything. So if you're going to run a RAID 0, it's extremely important to have another backup of all your stuff somewhere, whether it's an image or an online backup, all that stuff. So RAID 0 is great for performance. People that really want that bleeding edge speed, you can even RAID together in RAID 0. You can even stripe together solid state drives. You can do it with NVMe drives. You can really get a lot of performance out of doing RAID 0. But in real world testing, like in the testing aspect of it, in theoretical on paper, and when you're talking about it theoretically, it should be blazingly fast. Every drive that you add is going to increase it by that much speed. It's going to be great. But like when you're actually using it, most people don't notice that kind of difference. Like even when you're playing larger games or really high games with a lot of textures, and large games like Doom, it takes up 60 to 80 gigs. I can't remember.
84 now.
84 gigs. Then Skyrim with the high res texture mod, which also takes up 60 something. The new Wolfenstein. Lots of other games. Like when it's loading up all these textures, you don't notice that all of these, when it's loading all this stuff, a lot of people don't notice that there's a huge difference based on the number of drives they have. Like when I had my 4 drive RAID 0 using solid state drives, each one could do about 550 megs for reading and about 500 megs for writing. I was getting about 2 gigs per second for reading, and I didn't notice much difference between my rig and somebody else that was using a rig that had 1 solid state drive. Sure, it would test faster in benchmarks, but in real world performance, if we both launched the same game at the exact same time, we had similar hardware. I had a faster processor. I was only shaving off a second or two on map load time. So RAID 0, while it's great for testing or showing off and all that stuff, I don't really recommend it for people that are just looking to have a good, solid, stable computing experience. Now, if you're a tinkerer, or you want to do it, you want to try, or you're an entry-level technician, you want to understand what it's about, by all means, go for it. If you're not doing that kind of stuff, if you're not on the cutting edge, you don't really care, you favor stability over everything else, go with a single drive setup, get a large SSD, and call it a day. Alright. That's my spiel, and I'm sticking with it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and make sure that we can boot to our drive. I'm going to turn fast boot on, and actually no, I'm not going to turn fast boot on yet. What I do need to do is I need to take my drive and set it back to UEFI mode. I finally figured out what it was. Those of you that were here yesterday noticed that I was in easy to boot and it was stuck in UEFI mode. I had to overwrite the initial boot sector 00 from one of the backups found at LBA sector 1. It's a whole other spiel on that. It sounds like it's complicated, but really you just load up a program, read the 3 backup sectors, which are sector 1, 30, and 60. Find the one that has a couple of ending bits that you need, copy it to a file, and then load that file on top of bit 0, or sector 0, and then it'll overwrite it, and then it'll turn it back into what it needs to be. So we're going to go ahead and switch this back to UEFI mode. Sorry for the noises. Okay. I'm going to go with 1803. Don't want to do 1809 yet. There's way too many issues with it. Microsoft, for those of you that don't know, that are technicians. I'm pretty sure that all of you heard it, that 1809 was wiping out data and stuff. Absolutely zero redundancy there. So Microsoft themselves were wiping out documents, pictures, music, all that stuff for people that had made any changes to the location of their documents folder in Windows 10 prior to the 1809 update. They got the 1809 update, something went wrong, and it started deleting all their stuff. They thought they fixed it, they came back, still not fixed. Don't know what to tell you. So they pulled 1809 again. It was called the October update, and guess what? October is almost over and we still don't have it. So maybe they're gonna call it the Oops, We Did It Again update. Shout out to Britney's Pears. Alright, so we've got our drive converted over to UEFI from legacy mode. Go ahead and plug that in, and we will save and exit. Alright, we're going to go to the boot menu by pressing F12. I know you can't really see that because of the new follower logo down at the bottom, but just believe me. Believe me when I say it. Okay, so it sees that we've got UEFI partition 1. That's the one we're going to boot to. Nope, guess not. UEFI partition 2. Nope, I guess not. So let me verify that it's in UEFI mode real quick. Maybe I pulled it too soon. Who's to say? Nope, looks like it's in UEFI mode. Yep, it sure is. At least it tells me that it's in UEFI mode. And yep. Alright, so it says it's in UEFI mode. Let's try it again for a cold boot. Let's press this in. Hey, Matterdash. Hey, what's up, man? Good to see you again. I have my laptop Windows 10 Pro, been running it for 1.5 years, been wanting to more or less format it and just do a fresh install. No old files left on it. Any tips before I undergo this task? What do you want to wipe it for? I've had the same operating system running for quite a while, and I know a lot of people say, oh yeah, well, a lot of technicians say, oh yeah, you should be wiping it out every year or whatever. Like, you really don't have to do that if you have good hardware. I don't really think that that's a necessity anymore. You can if you have like a mysteriously large glob of space that's missing, but I don't see a need for that. Like I said, I've been running the same operating system for, God, when did I did a fresh install on it like 2 years ago, I think. And before that, I ran the same operating system installation for 5 years, I think. And went through all the Windows updates and all that stuff, and it ran, I mean, it still runs really well. So, I don't know why people insist on doing that, but if you have a good reason, I mean, your reasons are your own. So, if you want to do it, then the easiest way to do it is to download the media creation tool from Microsoft, and just let it run and create you a USB. You're going to need at least an 8 gig USB stick. And the process is super easy. You just download it, run it, and tell it that you want to create a bootable USB drive. It does all the hard work for you, and then you just tell the computer to boot from it, and you're good to go. Unlike this computer, where I'm using easy to boot, and it's not appearing to be so easy to boot. I think it might be because I have it booting in fast startup mode. So, let's try taking that out and seeing if it fixes our problem. So we're gonna go back over to our BIOS. Fast boot is not on. Secure boot is disabled. And our boot options are solid. It's kind of weird. It was working yesterday.
You even posted the mosquito thing on Facebook?
Oh yeah, dude, I was mad. So I grabbed... This mosquito was like biting the shit out of me, and I grabbed this mosquito out of the air 5 different times. And every time I grabbed him, I squeezed my hand, and then I'd open it and he'd fly off. Like, resilient little cockroach thing. It was really frustrating, like super frustrating. Alright, so we're waiting on this to boot still. I might have to go try this in another machine real quick. Actually, that's a good idea. I have RM prep installed on this machine real quick, so let's do it. If it doesn't start giving me the swirling circles, then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll do a screen sharing, and I'll show you guys how to do this real quick. Ah, so you turn it off and back on and it works. Imagine that. Matterdash also says, I have installed and uninstalled a lot of programs, and I've just had a lot of like longer startup times, mild glitches, like sometimes I try and open Chrome and Edge will open and vice versa. Try and refresh a page and it won't, just kind of ghosts in the machine, nothing like a virus, just leftover glitches. What kind of hard drive do you have? Are you running a solid state drive? And also, I mean, I don't think anybody installs or uninstalls as many programs as I do. I have to install utilities and test software for people all the time. And if you're having a problem, there's probably a reasonable explanation for it. Longer startup times though, as soon as we get into the operating system, I'll show you what causes those and I'll tell you how to remove them. It's actually a trick that I learned, or a tip that I came across back in 2009, and I've been using it ever since, and it does help, especially for people using rotational hard drives. Alright, so we're going to install Home because I don't know if his account is registered to Home or Pro. Also, good news is that he did say he wanted me to go ahead and use the 3-fan cooling system. Money is no object for him, unlike me. And he said that he wanted to go ahead and have best of the best, so we're going to put in that 3-fan cooler that we got from Deep Cool, which is going to be awesome. Alright, so we're back at the screen where we can't detect the array. So Aaron gave me his thumb drive, which is right here. This is the drive that I put everything on yesterday, so this is the one that we're going to need to use. So I'm just going to put his drive into the back of the computer real quick, and now we're going to need a mouse because this part of the setup is not entirely coded very well, not in a friendly keyboard manner. So what we're going to do now is we need to load the driver so that it can see and talk to that RAID controller properly, so that it can see the RAID array that we created inside of the BIOS. So we're going to go to Browse, and then we're going to scroll down and go to E2B, which is where we put all his stuff. And then we're going to go to Gigabyte X399 RAID, and it was boot drive HW10 RAID X64. I'm pretty sure that's where it was. Now, for those of you that were here yesterday, you do remember that we actually had to add two different controller sets. So I'm going to add the first one, it's still not going to see it. I'm going to add the second one, it's still not going to see it. But then, for some reason, once I've added both, a third one pops in, and that's actually the one that allows us to see the hard drive. So don't fret, we're going to load the driver again, hit Browse, go to the exact same place, E2B Gigabyte X399 RAID. We extracted these drivers from the disk that came with the motherboard. A lot of you don't know where to find these drivers from. If you're trying to set up a RAID on a computer that you're building yourself and you've got the motherboard installation disk and it's the OEM one with like the sticker and everything on it, the RAID drivers are almost always on the disk. It's just up to you to either insert the disk in the middle of your Windows setup or to... Oh, there it is, right there.
Nice. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so now we're going to...
You sound really tired, by the way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely tired. It's 10:41, and we're fixing computers here at RAD Computers.
I am fixing computer.
I fix computer eat. Alright, so there's our RAID array. It says drive to unallocated space, total size 953.2 gigs. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit next, and it's going to install to both drives at the same time. Exact set of information going on both for redundancy. That means if for some reason we pulled out one of these drives in the middle of operating the computer, it would still function because it could immediately go to running off of the other drive. We would have zero downtime. He probably wouldn't even notice, especially since they're solid-state drives. What we will have, though, is the software that corresponds to most RAID controllers that will read the controller on the fly, and at the first sign of problems, it'll actually pop up a warning on your screen that tells you that your RAID is degraded, and that you need to, yeah, I am tired, degraded, and that you immediately need to go in and repair your RAID and fix whatever disk is the problem. Usually it merits either running a check disk on the entire array or replacing that one drive and having it rebuilt in the event of a total hardware failure. So we will go ahead and wait for this to get done. This process really doesn't take very long, especially when we're installing from the USB 3.0 drive onto a Threadripper machine with a RAID1 mirror onto solid-state drives. So I don't expect this to take super long. Matterdash says SSD is the main OS drive, the 1TB normal disk drive that he puts most of his stuff on. And like I said, as soon as we get into the operating system, I'm going to show you what causes some of the startup slowdown that people experience and how to fix it. There's the manual way, which I'm going to show you first, and then there's the automatic way, which is a program which I actually prefer. It's a free program, and it's pretty cool. It's a really good tool to have as a technician. Holy cow, that was super fast. I am so excited to get this computer out of here. It's been here much longer than I would like. And I guess we didn't need to repair the drive. Okay. Now the computer is booting into the operating system. It might be okay, yeah, good. I was like, it might be booting into the thumb drive again, but this BIOS is smart, so hooray for this BIOS. I can actually prop myself up just a little bit. Huh. That makes a huge difference. I'm sitting on a little rotating stool, which is pretty nice, gotta say. Hey Aaron, you think I could use this solder sucker to suck out a booger?
Solder sucker?
The solder pump.
To suck out a burger?
To suck out a booger. You just jam it up your nose and just be like, sunk.
I don't know, let me see.
Yeah, no, not right now.
You got a couple chunks in there.
Sunk. Okay. I'm waking up a little bit. My sense of humor comes back when I'm awake. Alright.
I'm trying for you guys. I'm sorry about him.
Yeah.
I apologize.
I'm sorry about myself. It's been a long day. Longer for you. I don't know how you get here at 8 o'clock in the morning. Oh, yeah, because you don't want to get fired.
I fired you today on Snapchat. I literally fired you.
Nobody follows you on Snapchat. You have like 3 followers. Alright.
Shut up. You're fired.
You're fired.
I know.
So it's funny you mentioned The Verge and a new streaming tower because they were the site that I was reading on today that Intel and Streamlabs are pairing up to create stream-ready boxes that'll be able to stream at 1080p 60 frames per second. And you can rent these boxes for I think $32 a month for a device as a service, which is going to be pretty cool, I think. After about a year you would have paid close to $400 after tax, and if you're making money while you're streaming, I mean, that might actually pay for itself. You never know. But it really doesn't cost much to make a system like that, so if you have $400 to spare, you could probably make the whole thing out of parts by yourself, and it would be a lot more functional. Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty sure it was The Verge. I know that it showed up in my news feed. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let's see. Wow, Western Digital just came out with a 15 terabyte hard drive called the UltraStar.
Hey, Mark.
That's insane. What's up?
Hanukkah's coming up. You want to give me something?
Sure.
15 terabyte hard drive?
I'm sorry, what was that? A dreidel? Absolutely. Okay, let's see. Came up in my news feed today and I read the article, but now it's not showing up. Okay. Let me see if it's in my view history real quick. Also, we might be fixing a TV on stream someday. We're gonna use it for showing my customers the stream while they're here in shop, so it's kind of important we get this TV going. Let's see. It's not in that browser. And it doesn't look like it's going to be in this browser either. Oh, actually there it is. So TheVerge.com, Intel partners with Streamlabs on mini PCs built for Twitch. Let's see here. What we'll do is we'll go to a top-down view and I'll let you guys read this with me. If I can... I think it's these springs. I think these springs are just too strong. We'll go to top down real quick. Alright. Okay. Streamlabs on mini PCs built for Twitch. So this, I guess this is what it's supposed to look like. Streamlabs, a company that specializes in making widgets and free open broadcast software OBS for Twitch streamers, announced that it's partnering with Intel to create dedicated live streaming PCs. According to VentureBeat, the companies are teaming up to bring Intel CPUs to third-party hardware device makers like Shuttle, Simply Nook, Zotac, and Acer, who are building plug-and-play PCs that are ready for 1080p streaming at 60 FPS right out of the box and preloaded with Streamlabs OBS software. Each hardware partner is offering its own version of a mini PC with slightly different specs. Simply Nook's EasyCast is a tiny 4-inch by 4-inch mini PC that has an i5-7300UV processor. The box starts at $29 a month as part of a Device as a Service program, and it's the first product of the partnership to be released. It's got 8 gigs of memory and 256 gigs of storage. I guess that's a side view of it. There's some more. With its broadcast PC slated for release later this fall, Shuttle will be offering a streaming bundle which includes a webcam, USB microphone, headset, gaming keyboard, and mouse. The 5.59-inch by 5.59-inch PC will be equipped with an Intel Core i5 processor that can be plugged into a game console or separate gaming PC for an instant streaming platform. Zotac's ZBox MI553B series will be available early next year, and it'll also come preloaded with Streamlabs OBS software. Acer is working on its PC as well, and will have a concept ready at Streamlabs booth at TwitchCon, which kicked off today. So yeah, there you go, right off the verge, buddy. I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to say something about it on stream, and I totally forgot. Okay. And once again, my camera needs to be retightened. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Okay, now there's our little Cortana. So what it just did is, since I have the Ethernet cable plugged in, you probably saw the screen blip a little bit, and then it got smaller. It actually added the graphics card driver while we were sitting here, because Windows 10 and driver finding is awesome. So we're going to add an offline account. We're just going to call this one Mark, not because that's my name, but because that's his name, and it's a good name. Strong name. We're not going to use a password. We're going to go ahead and let Cortana be the personal assistant. We're going to go ahead and go with the defaults. I let people choose their own stuff. Okay. Hi, I'm Cortana. Blah, 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 blah. And now we wait. I think, you know, what I should do is like I should create like a whole like waiting thing. Kind of like the BRB screen, but like with a clock or something. Alright, here's our cool intermission. So we'll be here chilling, just waiting for this to go on. I can monitor this on absolutely nothing, actually. I thought I could monitor it, but I can't. So we'll just assume that this is going to be done here in a little bit. You guys can see one of my amazing gray hairs starting to show up, because I'm getting old. Alright. Alright, I think it's done. Let's find out. Oh, it's almost there. Ta-da! Alright, that merits... That's almost like a YouTube cut right there. That's a production cut. That's how good that was. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and close out Internet Edge. I do like arranging these icons in a very particular way. I put the recycle bin down the bottom left-hand corner. I throw away the 3D Vision photo viewer. I don't think anybody's ever used that in history of ever. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to my thumb drive. Let me unplug his. We're going to convert mine back into standard mode. So you go to E2B, switch E2B. Here you go.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I know. You're never going home.
You're going to fired.
That's right. Alright, so we've got our drive selected. We're going to hit Restore E2B Partitions, hit OK. And it should reinitialize, and there we go. Now you can see that we're back in our standard drive set with all of our stuff back intact. So if you notice, I have all the Diablo lore here in PDF format. I keep that with me because I like reading about Diablo. I've purchased all the books up through 2012 3 times because I keep losing them in places, so now I just carry the PDF with me and a copy of the archive on my Kindle app because I don't own an actual Kindle. Alright, so we're going to go back here, we're going to go into our folder and run the batch file that we have that automatically installs all of our stuff. Alright, and now we wait some more. This is the shortcut to our website. We put this over here, third icon from the top. So 1, 2, 3. The reason for that is because we put the antivirus of his choice up here, and then we put the Malwarebytes utility up here for him that he requested as well. And now we wait. We're going to take this Internet Edge icon and place it right over here in the trash, because we don't recommend using Internet Edge. Sorry, Microsoft. That's probably not going to go over well on the Mixer channel. You know what popped up in my Google feed a couple of months ago, Microsoft? One of your executives was giving a speech about how good Internet Edge was, and it kept crashing, so he had to give the presentation in Chrome. Not a good thing for publicity, especially when it gets out of that office. You guys should have made everybody sign an NDA, and you didn't. So technicians like me got to hear about it, and we laughed our butts off, just FYI. Alright. We can close this out. We're just waiting. So this installs LibreOffice, and these install Chrome, Air, Adobe Air, Microsoft Silverlight, Java 8, Java 8 64, Adobe Shockwave, 7-Zip, VLC Media Player, Adobe Reader, QuickTime, which is skipped now, it's been discontinued, .NET Framework, Avast, and Malwarebytes. If it's already installed, it updates it, but this is just a precursor. We usually load up most of these programs onto the computer because they're things that people need anyway. We rarely get any complaints about it. We do recommend everybody run Malwarebytes, and so far every customer that's come in has Malwarebytes already, so we just reinstall it as a courtesy. We put Avast on there as an antivirus. It's going to nag them to buy it anyway, so if they're going to get any money, they're going to get any money one way or the other. Avast is our recommended free antivirus, but now, to our customers, we recommend that they subscribe to our MCSoft, which is a fork of the Bitdefender definitions. It's not partnered with Bitdefender, but it is a fork of the definitions that they use. It's pretty solid stuff. Bitdefender is a great antivirus, but it's a little hefty on resources. So is Kaspersky. Norton 360 we don't recommend, Norton Internet Security we don't recommend, but Norton Antivirus is pretty good, but they're all pretty heavy on resources. MCSoft has been pretty nice. Even Malwarebytes premium version is extremely heavy on resources. I don't know what it is about that program, but once it gets its clutches into your computer, it is really slowing it down unless you've got a really beefy computer. Alright, we're going to take this icon, we're going to trash it right over there. It's not needed. Take that one and trash it, it's not needed. I have to look around the webcam to see the trash can, so there's that. Alright, so we want to make this the default reader because Internet Edge really sucks. Sorry Microsoft and Mixer World, it's true. It's just, like, stop trying to make a browser that does everything. Make a browser that does the one thing that we really want really well.
Thank you!
You know, it's like, jeez. I don't even use Chrome to open my PDFs, and it does everything that I want it to do.
Thank you!
God. I want a browser to browse the web and not show me advertising. Like,
What's a video player?
yeah, and play videos. Like, that's all I want. I don't want it to open my PDFs. I want it to stop video advertisements from showing up on YouTube. Sorry, YouTube land, but it's true. Stop trying to give me a browser that can open my PDFs and crash on me all the time. Like, take the PDF functionality out and give me a solid working browser. They have been making pretty good strides, but I still don't use it. It's just course of habit now. And I don't use Firefox because I've got it out for them now. Ever since version 3.6 in 2002, no, 2001 or 2, when I first started using Firefox, using it with AdBlock Plus and leaving it open for a long period of time would cause it to eat up all of your RAM. Try it. Guarantee it, it still happens. It might be a problem with AdBlock Plus, I don't know, but I've never had that problem with Chrome. Go figure. So now I switched to uBlock and Chrome. uBlock has uBlock Origin and uBlock Origin Extra. Extra is not available in Firefox, and there's another reason I don't use Firefox. It's not a bad browser, it's just not my browser. Matterdash says, I used to be a fan of WebRoot, but their price went too high, but when it was really light on resources and caught stuff just as good and or better than others. I gotta be honest with you, I can't stand the WebRoot product. I don't know if it's because it's like what Best Buy pushes all the time, and I don't like being at Best Buy. Like, I love window shopping at Best Buy, but I don't like listening to people talk to me at Best Buy. Like, when I walk in, they're like, you know, I go over to the computer section to just like look at stuff, and they have these like junior high kids that walk up to me. No offense to junior high kids, I'm sorry. But they walk up to me and they're like, "There's something I can help you with?" And I'm like, no, please, remove yourself from my air. Go off in that general direction a little bit. Keep going. There's a wall there. Keep going. Yeah. Anyway. I've never even knew that they sold it. I guess it's because yeah. If you get your computer in the hands of in the claws of the Geek Squad, that's what they push. They're like, WebRoot. It doesn't work too well. WebRoot's really difficult once it starts strangling your machine and it starts messing up. WebRoot's really hard to remove. It's not fun. Like, WebRoot is just a massive pain in the butt.
Well, it takes up your RAM.
Of course it does. It's an antivirus. But when it starts malfunctioning, it's more likely to cause your computer to not surf the web than any other antivirus that we've ever seen.
But compared to a better antivirus in the first place, it takes up more memory than what it should.
Oh yeah, and a lot of the WebRoot installations that we see are one file. You know what that sounds like to me? You know what that one file antivirus sounds like to me?
That was bullshit!
Lots of it. Okay.
You should get a button that says, that sounds like a whole lot of Aaron.
Yeah. Alright, so now we're going to go into the device manager and we're going to check to see what is left for us to install, which is nothing. We will go ahead and update the device drivers for the GTX Titan that is running, because this is running a driver from 10/27/2017. So we'll go ahead and update that, but just for you, Matterdash, I want to show you one of the likely causes of your slowdown, especially if you have a lot of devices. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring up the command prompt, and you're going to want to do it in administrative mode, so give me just a second. Alright, now we're in administrative mode. There's a shortcut command, it's DEV-MGR, like device manager. I'm sorry, skipped a step. It's set space DEV-MGR underscore show underscore non underscore, no, I'm sorry, show non-present underscore devices equals 1. So when you run this, then you type start dev-mgmt.msc to start the device management console. And when you open this, you go to view, show hidden devices, And what you can do is you can go through here and you'll see some that look like they're grayed out. Like for example, this one. We have Samsung flash drive, USB device, and Samsung flash drive, USB device again, but this one looks like a little ghost by comparison to the one above it, and the default icon for disk drives, which does not look like a ghost. This is our RAID array that we've created. It does show one SCSI device, one SCSI disk device. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this one and we're going to remove it. Now the reason, before we do that, the reason why this is here is because that's Aaron's thumb drive. So his thumb drive,
the best one in the shop.
If I plug it into that same port, whichever one I used, was it this one? Yep, yes it was. So if I unplug it, it's going to create the ghost device again. Now if I try a different port, and I unplug it, there you go. So we have a ghost device driver being loaded for this, and Windows does it every single time you start the computer. Consider it like you have a house guest that comes over one day and he eats all the food in your fridge. So you're like, okay, cool. So then the next day you prepare your entire fridge for this house guest that may or may not show up to your house. So basically that's what Windows is doing. It's preparing to see this device that may not ever be there. So you can literally just click on it, hit delete, confirm, and it'll uninstall this ghost device driver so that it never shows up again. And Windows will not try to prepare itself for the loading of that device every single time you start your computer. Now there are some exceptions to this rule, and this is why I'll segue into talking about the other program, or the program that I use, which is a lot better for this purpose. So, like for example, we have the human interface devices, the keyboard, the mouse, the monitors. Now you can see here that it shows 3 ghost monitors, but I've only had the one monitor attached to it. I can remove these. But most likely what it did is that it had a monitor attached to the display adapter, which was generic, and then when it installed the new updated driver, it created another ghost device. Great. So we're going to remove these. We're going to go down here. Now in networking adapters, sometimes you'll have like an RAS async adapter. Don't delete that. You will cause your computer to blue screen and you will not come back from it unless you know how to do a manual registry restoration in a pre-boot environment. So if you see it's a RAS async adapter, RAS async adapter, leave it there even though it's ghost device. Other devices here, that's fine. Portable devices. See, here's E2B and PTN2, that's part of his thumb drive. Got printers, we got all of our Threadripper stuff right here, the 1950X 16-core processor. We've got the other stuff. Now these also, don't delete these. These are the sound, video, and game controller stuff. But these Microsoft streaming proxies, along with the service proxy and the T-Sync to Sync converter, don't delete those either. All of your audio stuff here that starts with Microsoft is a critical system service. Don't remove these or you'll break it too. Alright, so we've got these volumes. These volumes are associated with the 2 partitions that ghost partitions that we took out, which were part of the one thumb drive that we plugged in. Then you've got your system devices here. If you have ever swapped your motherboard and not uninstalled and reinstalled, if you've ever swapped your motherboard without reinstalling your operating system from scratch and it booted, you probably have double the number here, because it's still loading up devices from your old motherboard, which is just insane to think about. And then here you have your USB mass storage device as well under USB, so that takes up, you know, a little bit of stuff. Now, granted, the amount of speed improvement you get from doing this is not much these days, but back when I discovered this 9 or 10 years ago, it made a huge difference, especially in Windows XP, Windows Vista, and then shortly after Windows 7. They were terrible at ghost device management, and since then it seems like Microsoft has made some strides in getting that situation rectified on Windows 10. So I don't see a need to do it quite often, but let me show you a program now that can actually do this exact same thing. So this program is called, coincidentally enough, Ghostbuster. And this program, which we will execute from our thumb drive, come on, there we go. We're going to launch it from our Portable Apps platform as hosted by portableapps.com. I'm not getting paid to say that, I just think it's a really great platform. So what we're going to do is close this down, all device properties. Should probably find a way to move that camera over. Ew, no, people. I don't want to see people. That's the Wi-Fi. Kind of hard to see what I'm clicking on. Sorry, guys. Give me just a second. Alright, what we'll do instead is we'll launch it directly. I'll show you guys what it does. We'll just go into the Portable Apps folder, down to Ghostbuster, and we'll run this as an admin. So this program basically takes everything that we just did by typing in this command, the set dev manager underscore show non-present devices equals 1, and then starting the device management console. It takes all of that and basically consolidates it into a graphical user interface called Ghostbuster, and it presents the data to you all at the same time, and it even knows what not to remove, which is super important for you guys that are just starting out and you want to be able to clean the Ghost devices, but you don't know how to do it. So what we're going to do here is we can scroll down and you can literally just right click in an area and do add class, and that'll add all of the devices under that class. So for example, human interface device class, if you add class, it's going to add all of the listings underneath that heading. If you're under network adapters and you right click and you do add device, then it's just going to add the associated devices with it. Now here's where this program comes real handy. If you right click on something and you add class, it's not going to remove these, like the Microsoft streaming stuff that I told you not to remove. It's not going to remove these. It actually skips over them and makes them a different color, because even though you've added the class, it knows not to remove these. I don't know how it does it, but it's super smart, and I really thank it for that, because the first time I removed the RAS async adapter and accidentally accidentally caused the computer to blue screen itself over and over at startup, I was pretty upset, like no joke. So having this little program does help quite a bit. Once you've added all of your classes, add class, just because it's green doesn't mean it's going to be removed. It still just skips over what it needs to. It's always important to create a system restore point when you do this, and then what you're going to do is hit remove ghosts, and you're going to see it do its little thing in the bottom left hand corner. First it's creating a restore point for us. I just go through and add every single class. You can also create an ini file that automatically specifies what to do, such as this. This is the ini file that I created, which has literally every single class, and then I execute that from a batch file. The main point of this batch file, this basically forces it to run as an admin. So the real meat of the batch file starts down here, where it copies that ini file onto the computer into /ghostbuster.ini, and then it executes it in no GUI mode, which means it's automatic, and runs it off of the ghostbuster.ini file. Now, I actually need to change this location to the RAD computers folder. No, you don't have to. I need to change this location because not all computers like copying to the C drive directly. They usually deny you access unless it's a direct copy-paste that you're doing yourself. So I will be pointing this to the RAD computers folder and updating this location so that it runs using the script or the ini file inside of RAD computers. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Do RAD computers / and then RAID computers. It'll create a folder for you, but it does not like to put files into the root directory of C automatically. So then, this batch file, what it does is it forces the batch file to run as an admin. That's the first part. And then it copies the file into this folder and then runs the program with the data here in this folder, basically. Once it gets done with that, then it automatically deletes the INI file that it created, and I'm going to have it remove, no, I'm going to have it leave that directory. We need that. And then it automatically runs the script that I ran earlier, so you can manually check to see what devices it did and didn't remove, and then it pauses itself. So I'll show you that here in just a second. Looks like it's already done. As you can see, it went through and it changed these to purple, basically saying that it skipped over these. It actually didn't do anything with these either. I'll show you that everything's okay by forcing a restart. Let's do this. First, let me go ahead and show you the script so you can see that it does what it says it does. We'll go into the root directory of C real quick. As you can see, there's a folder here. It already has a couple of our setup stuff, as well as a shortcut that's used for our desktop icon. What we'll do is we will go to our portable apps, Ghostbuster, and I'm just going to double click on this. As you can see, it's asking me to run this as an administrator by granting it permission to do administrative tasks. We're going to hit yes. It's going to relaunch the same file in administrative mode, copy the data over, and it's done. You can see here I have it echoing all of the commands just for troubleshooting, but normally when I'm writing a batch file, I have it clear the screen and not echo any of the data by starting off with @echo off in my batch file. So it copied the file over, it ran it and executed it, and then once it was done, which literally goes that fast, it deleted the any file. We can verify that by going into the root directory of C and going to RAID computers, and yep, it sure enough is missing. How do we know it really put it in there? Well, let's run it again. We'll start one more. It goes by super quick. There's no harm in running it more than once. It's not going to do the same job over and over and over. It's not going to do any different after it's done the first job. It's just going to do the same job over and over and over. So we're going to go to Portable Apps, Ghostbuster, and if you keep an eye right down here, you'll see that icon pop up. I'm going to double click on it. Yes, and bink, there it is, and bink, there it goes. That's how quick it cleans up all of the devices for you. So now you can come in here, view, show hidden devices, and you can see in here, I mean, granted we already had to remove a bunch of stuff, so let's do it one more time. This time what we're going to do is we're going to plug in a thumb drive to create a ghost device, and then we'll run it and we'll show you that it's taken it out. Okay. Alright. Set dev manager underscore show underscore non-present underscore devices equals 1. Start dev management .msc. Okay, there should be one inside of disk drives, one inside of, let's see, where's volumes at? Show hidden devices, storage volumes, and then one inside of serial bus USB stuff, which is going to be right down here. You can see that it doesn't show up right now because the drive is still plugged in, but as soon as I remove it, bam, so we have our Samsung USB flash drive ghost device here, a volume, and a mass storage device. There might also be one more in, let's see, that might be the last one. Just want to double check. Alright, anyway, so there's definitely 1, 2, oh there it is, 1, 2, 3, and then 4 up there. So let's close this down and you can watch the magic roll. Don't blink, look everywhere at the same time, and it's gone. It leaves the volumes here. I usually go through and delete these by hand. You don't have to, it's not really that big of a deal. But it did delete the one up here in disk drive and the one down here in universal serial bus. If you go to show hidden devices here and the new one that it popped up, it should be identical when it's displaying its information. We'll just check the storage volumes. Yep, so those two are still there. I'm going to delete them. Ba-bam. Ba-bam. And there you go. Close that out. Glad it's actually working now. I have to update some of my other scripts that actually call that batch file. And then we're going to restart. And it should reboot relatively quick with this Threadripper processor, and it should go all the way to the operating system with no side effects. So sometimes when I'm cleaning a computer and I've done a deep clean on a customer that I've never seen before when they've had their computer for several years, we see iPods, iPhones, iPads, dozens of things, printers that they don't have anymore, all that stuff. So when we run Ghostbuster, it gets rid of all those ghost devices, and once their computer is up and running, then it's usually pretty quick, even without swapping them over to an SSD. We always do recommend swapping over to an SSD if they're having performance problems, and then we hope that we never see them again, not because we don't like them, but because we hope we don't have to see them again. Alright. And here we are, back in the operating system. So, ghost devices, get rid of them using Ghostbuster. It's a free open source program. It hasn't been in development for a while, but I still use it. It works great. It's been working for me since Windows 7. And I started using it on Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, Windows 10, and I've had no adverse issues with it. I've never had it give me a blue screen, and I use it on pretty much every computer that we use, or that we fix. I have it scripted in one of my cleanups, so if they do have ghost devices, and they're on our monthly maintenance plan, those ghost devices get cleaned up every single month, which is awesome. If they're on our gold level plan, twice a month, and if they're on our platinum plan, every single week. Which is great for people that have like tons of teenagers and they're plugging in all their phones to update and play Fortnite and all that other crap. Okay, so this computer is basically done. We can run Windows updates on it, or we can reconnect all the stuff. I say we reconnect all the stuff so that I can get the H out of here. We'll let him run his own updates, fam. Alright, we're just waiting on this fan to stop moving. Alright, the computer has shut itself off. We're going to create 2 more ghost devices by unplugging the keyboard and the mouse. Third ghost device by unplugging my keys. Alright. You know, I think I've had this camera on a stand for so long, it just doesn't seem like it's in a very good location. So I'm going to move it to a place that should be okay. And I never have to move it again. Wouldn't that be great? Sweet. Alright. I'm a little bit further away, but that's okay. And I'm glad you're learning something, Matter Dash. Now, let's take a look. Get our top-down camera on. For all that's glorious on this computer. So I've been struggling with this desk ever since I switched the arm out.
Doing it again?
Yeah. Actually, it's like really bad right now.
Mark and I were just talking about this about 8 hours ago.
I need to get a. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a metal plate from Home Depot, and I'm gonna create a brace for it.
A what?
A brace for it. Shut the hell up. You be as tired as I am, and then try doing what I'm doing. Ah. Alright. Oh, okay, yeah, right on. I'm gonna make you hold this camera up. Alright, 1 second, guys. I'm going down. Oh yeah, it completely chewed through the bottom. Hey, you know what? I think I can make this brace right now.
What do you need?
Give me one of those old laptop hard drives. Give me 1 second, guys. The camera's wiggling because I had to drill a hole into the desk, and when I drilled it, I found out that the desk is just honeycomb cardboard on the inside, and there's literally nothing. This one's dead, right?
They're all dead.
Okay.
They all need to be destroyed.
Alright, cool.
I'm taking care of that this weekend.
You gonna use them for skeet?
No, we're gonna drill holes and then burn them on fire.
So not use them as skeet, because using them as skeet sounds a lot more fun.
What's a skeet?
Skeet shooting.
Oh, no. No, we actually use our actual body parts.
Ha ha ha, funny.
You get it?
Yeah, that actually worked really well. Wow, that worked like really well.
When in doubt.
Dope. Oh yeah,
Yeah?
much better. Okay.
Is that the top or the bottom?
It's the springs. They are like, they're too close to the edges. I don't know where they're supposed to be, but they're like super thick.
I think that's because whoever held that hole.
No. Ha ha. Okay, so now we have to go on the back side of this computer and we've got to connect these 3 hard drives. We need to take this cooler out and replace it with the big one. We have to take these 2 fans out, connect the front panel USB 3.0, connect the front panel USB 2.0, connect the 2 optical drives, hang myself out to dry, and properly mount these. It's about, I don't know, an hour and a half or 2 of work. Oh shit, did I bend my keys? Okay. Alright. I actually really like the camera being right there. That's a good place for it. I really like standing when I work on computers, so hey Matterdash, how's the vocal audio by comparison to the background audio? Should I turn the background audio down, or is it good where it is? Alright, you can see that the staggered array of thermal paste that we put on last time, yesterday, was pretty good for coverage. Hey, termites, what's up, man? Long time no see, dude. So, there's the area where we put the thermal paste. I know it's a little bright right now. Let me see if I can lean forward and down into this. God, I love this longer arm. There it is. We covered it perfectly, even though it's a bit smaller of a block, but having it covered like that was really good. Awesome. You have a DV6 3000 series. How do I fix the hard drive? Pull it out and replace it. How have you been, termites? Ah, he likes you. He's giving you the wood already. That's awesome. Alright, we're going to take these out. The DV6 3000, I believe the hard drive is accessed from the bottom. You don't have to get into the shell or anything, or take out the motherboard like you did in the N5050 series for Dell. The N series from Dell, the N5000, was a terrible, terrible piece of ingenuity. Man, I really needed that. Clean off this thermal paste. Okay. Clean the thermal paste off the top of the processor too. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I would do with all that space. I have a 1 terabyte right now, NVMe drive, and I'm using, I think, right about half of it. I'm excited for BlizzCon right now. I'm not going, but my downstairs neighbor is, and he promised to bring me back a shirt for me and a shirt for the missus, which is going to be awesome. I'm currently in the process of reading her all the Diablo lore, so 12 books ahead of us. I think there might be 13. 14 including the new Bestiary book that's coming out. So that's going to be cool. Yeah. Alright. We're going to take these out. Once the drives are inside of a RAID array, once they're member drives, so long as you keep them on the same controller, you can really just rearrange these cables as you want, and they'll just reconstruct themselves in the proper order automatically. So I'm going to disconnect these and take these drives out, set them aside, and then we're going to rebuild or redo everything correctly. Run a program called WizTree. It's W-I-Z-T-R-E-E. It works just like Winderstat, but it actually just pings the master file table, and it gets the entire directory listing from the master file table, so that you don't have to sit there and wait for the little Pac-Man to go about. WizTree, W-I-Z-T-R-E-E. Run it on that drive, and it'll tell you where most of your space is. Hey, Aaron.
Yeah.
That little screw case that you were showing me earlier when I was asking you where the other screws were, can you bring that to me? I don't know where he had his solid-state drives previously. Yeah, that one. Yep. Yep.
There's two. I don't know where that other one went.
Verify
that.
This is the one that I need.
You sure?
It's empty.
That's what I'm saying. What do you need?
Give me just a second, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. Absolutely. There you go. So that's what it is that you're going to need. It'll basically analyze your hard drive and tell you where the majority of your space is taken up so that you can delete large files or large directories that are no longer necessary. Nice. Don't know what that was. Guess we'll find out. One second. I'll find that site for you. Woo! The stool was a lot lower than I thought it was. I like this stool. I just lowered it so that I could get it out of my way. And then I needed to sit in it. I forgot how low it was. It's from Antibody Software. Antibody-software.
Ghostbuster?
No, WizTree. Ghostbuster was an open source platform or program, and I have no idea. I don't remember. It was a long time ago when I got that program.
5, 6.
Ghostbuster? 10. Or maybe 9. Yeah, I've had it for a long time. No, it was here. It was before I moved to Missouri. Mm-hmm.
If you use that on my
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Does your cousin watch the stream?
Garrett?
Yeah.
You might. Why?
I was just curious. Since he's so into computers and everything, I was just wondering if he ever watched.
He thinks he knows everything.
Yeah. Another reason I'd never hire him.
Hey, you hired one Robinson. You can barely deal with me.
You're whippable. Okay.
We both laughed at my little result.
Alright, this'll be fun. This computer weasel live.
It's only 75 pounds, guys.
Only 75 pounds, guys. You know, nothing heavy.
Honestly, you should get the scale out of your bathroom pretty near.
Yeah, no, that's okay. God. It's got this entire top side that I have to remove now.
NZXT case? Is that what it is?
I don't know. I don't know who makes this case. It's a nice case.
I'm gonna call it NZXT right now. And if it is, have fun removing that top part. Just to let you all know, Mark's gonna be streaming for another 3 hours.
I'll probably be streaming for 3 hours just because.
Top part of the case. Are you doing the other build tonight too?
Nope. Haven't heard from her yet. Okay, so currently I'm trying to separate the top. So I undid the screws in the back. I think they might have it screwed in on the other side. Yep. Yes, they do. Just pulled out one screw and wiggled it a little bit, and I can totally see where they screwed it in. So one side is held in by retention clips, and the other side is held in by screws. Huh, maybe I was wrong. Might not have been pulling hard enough, but anyway, now we have plenty of space that we can take out this top part. Let me tighten this real quick. Okay, so now we can take out the 200 millimeter, I think it's 200 millimeter fan on top, and the adjacent 120 millimeter. Let's see, this is 120, and this would be 160. We're going to take these out to make room for his new deep cool radiator that Aaron's going to bring over to me.
What?
Bring me that deep cool, fool.
I gave you the Noctua. What do you want?
I want that big package right there.
Got it right here for you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you better bring it over here or you're fired.
No. Oh, this one. Okay. Pull it out for you real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I'll stop. Can they see me?
Yep.
Hey guys. I'm gonna.
They can see your belly.
Well, yeah, I know I have a hole in my shirt. I apologize, everyone. It's after hours here at RAID Computers.
You're gonna get me banned. Banned for showing too much skin. Well.
Also, Mark took the stickers home last night to make sure that I did not put them on my car. They are no longer on the wall. I think he knew that I was going to.
Pretty much. Okay.
How many viewers you got?
Hmm?
How many viewers?
11 on Twitch.
There you go.
I might have like 1 or 2 on Mixer.
D-Matt, you there?
Nope, D-Met's not here. He's asleep. Guaranteed. Alright. Alright. Yep. Installation complete.
How to install a liquid cooler.
Yeah, okay. So what we have here is the really big Captain 360 EX White RGB made by Deepcool. This is a triple 105mm fan cooling system.
Actually, Mark,
What's up?
if you really want to show them how to install a liquid cooling unit, we can do it right now.
We don't like using liquid coolers here because the pumps almost always fail eventually if you give them enough time. But there are some instances where air cooling just won't suffice, so suffice to say, this is one of those instances since we're pulling down a 16-core Threadripper. You know, a 16-core Threadripper is only $700. I paid like $700 for my 6800K and I got 6 cores. Ask me how salty I am. Screw you. Screw you. You want to get fired? You want to get fired? Keep laughing. Yeah.
Wait 8 more months.
God.
Wait 8 months.
Alright. Normally I would do an unboxing, but I really don't have the space for this right now, guys. We are running out of real estate here in RAID Computer Land. Now, this is a little upsetting. The quality of the cooler here does not look... I mean, it looks used. You can see that It's just not really crafted to perfection here like I would hope it would be. There's lots of little nuances. It just looks like it's not been handled correctly. Same with the other side. The other side is not quite as bad. Anyway. Cool. So. Alright, we've got a fitment issue where we can't really slide it in because of the top CD drive. So what we're going to do, yes, it's NZXT case. We're going to release the first drive. Slide this in like that. Bloody lovely. Yo, Aaron.
Yeah.
How salty should I be that I'm gonna have to mod this case now? Hey, what's up, Steve-O?
Mark, please don't. Please talk to him before you do that.
What? I have to drill 6 holes in order to hold this up in place.
Where?
Up here. It's not even visible. There's no other way to mount this. It's a 115mm fan. It's designed for 120. I need my drill and I need one of those things. It'll take me 5 minutes. Hurry up. What are you waiting for? That could have been done already.
Okay.
He said he wanted the best of the best. He's gonna need this radiator to cool down this processor, so we have to mod it. There's no other way. And it's literally just putting...
I forget sometimes that I'm not the boss, guys. My bad.
8, 9... We're gonna put 10 holes in this thing.
Where'd you put the, you put the bits, right?
Yeah. It is big enough to cool a car. Not as big as the other one. I had one that came in that had 12... No, I'm sorry, it was a 3x3 120mm fans. So it was 360 by 360 size radiator.
You could probably cool my lawnmower until that I've got.
Probably.
You know where you left them, Mark?
Do I remember where I left them? No.
Bits.
Nope. I have the box over here.
They shouldn't be left in a box.
Where's the drill at?
The red one?
The green one.
You grabbed it earlier today. Not tell you where you put the green one.
Alright, give me 1 second, guys.
Are you on mute?
Alright, and we're back. So, I got my drill. I got a bit that is just big enough for the screw holes that we're going to make.
You don't need the other
Hey, what's up, Dark Man? Yeah, bro, I'm working super late today.
You don't need to do the bits, Mark.
Nope. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna line this.
Oh, we've already got the ram in too.
Yes.
I'm gonna press this against the back. And what I'm gonna do is show you guys. Hold it against the back just like that. Okay. Right there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark where these would intersect. This is a silver Sharpie that I'm using here. Now Aaron's going to take that out, and what I'm going to do...
Put it in my computer.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Sure you are. I don't have a measuring tool right now, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take a piece of random wire that I have laying around, and I'm going to cut it so that it's the exact length of the distance between... Actually, no, let's not use a wire because it'll curl. Let's use...
What about a
Let's
zip
use
tie?
Yeah, let's use a big zip tie, which is what I was looking for. Here they are.
You got them? Actually, they're down by your feet, I believe.
Got one. Alright, so I've got a long zip tie here. It's crooked at the end, so I'm going to go ahead and chop that crooked part off.
Are you going to remove this? Actually, I'm also curious.
Give it to me.
What's the difference between the thermal paste that comes with it and the nap tool? Is there a big difference or no? Because I'm also...
Material composition. There's no telling until we actually benchmark it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go tip to tip. I'm going to mark it. Let your finger go for a second. Okay, put it back.
Get sharpening my finger out of mine.
We have to be resourceful here sometimes, so...
It's what the R stands for, guys.
Goddamn right. I just used an EVGA CLC 280. Worked great. 16 core Threadripper build started today. Nice, man. Good for you.
What do you plan on it? Let us know.
Oh, solitaire.
Minesweeper.
Alright, so you can see here. Should be able to see here. Maybe you can't. Alright, so you can see here that from one hole to the other, I've got this as basically the exact length in between the two holes so that I can mark off over here. Hold this.
Why do you have to do that instead of just marking the outside case?
Because I want them to be
Exact.
equidistant between the parts where I'm going to be screwing. So it's important to get it just right. And this is the easiest way without doing math. I can do the math and measure it out. It will come out perfectly, but I don't want to spend 5 minutes doing this and then
2 minutes.
10 minutes measuring when I could be done in 5 minutes total.
Okay, Mark. This cooler is actually pretty freaking sweet.
Alright, so now I can eyeball the rest of this on each side. I know where to drill my 4 holes there.
Show them the top of this.
I will.
This thing is
We're
awesome.
gonna be installing it on stream. You're fangirling out over there.
I know! It's so cool. Sorry guys, I'll let Mark talk. Like, I'm on your side about standard coolers, Noctua coolers, but
I've had to replace 3 deep cool pumps in the past year.
this
And
thing
there's
is
smaller ones too. It's insane.
Okay.
They do look cool though. It is cool to watch the liquid go through.
This thing is aesthetic, guys. It's
Right.
got the aesthetics.
I don't think we did the backside, so the backside is important because we need it to not rattle.
Line it up, I'll hold it.
Okay, hold it exactly in this spot. Okay, loosen the tension on your right hand. A little bit more. Alright.
I don't have to work out now, do I? Of course I stop.
Alright, you let go. Alright, bring me one of those trash bags. One of the empty ones.
Hold that.
Since we're going to be drilling into this, we don't want to get metal flakes anywhere inside this case. That would be extremely bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some, I'm going to put a trash bag underneath here, and I'm going to angle it outward.
Mark. Got that trash bag just like you ordered.
I don't need more shit over here cluttering up the area. Okay. That computer's
I thought it was
got
funny.
I know, it was sort of funny. But that computer has an i5 in it, and it's much better than most of the shit you get to that size.
Hey, watch your language.
Ha ha ha. Okay. Yeah, it is.
What are you using the trash bag for?
So the trash bag is going to be used to mask off the backside of the case so that none of the metal flakes get inside the machine.
And then short up the board.
Correct.
Smart. Okay. Do you need some tape?
Would be useful.
Do you want painters or masking?
Painter's tape is fine.
Pick set and painter's tape, guys. That's what you want.
The 2 tools I never thought I would need and wind up using more than anything.
Mark's taught me well.
Hey, what's going on, Xylus? Or is that a U? Is that an E? Hey, what's up, Zylu? This is X399. It's a Threadripper build. Let's see. My personal build is X99. My fiance's build, I think, is X299. So like I said, since we're going to be drilling into this right now, we're going to mask off this entire area. We're going to have enough draping over so that none of it can get into the case. It's a little shortcut, but it'll save us some time. We also have some little holes here that we're going to cover up. What's up?
The TV that runs your commercial,
Yeah.
that computer that's on it, resembles that a lot.
What do you mean?
The unicorn build that you have on the commercial. It looks
Oh,
almost
yeah.
identical to that one.
Yeah. That was actually a $40 case.
Who built it?
I did.
No,
but,
who designed it? Sorry.
Adenote, I think? It's on our Facebook, or it's on our Instagram, but I don't remember who manufactured that specific case. Alright. So we've got this pretty well masked off. It's not going to go anywhere now. We'll need to adjust it when we do these corner ones, but that's just 2 holes, and I'm not really super concerned about it. So now we're just going to drill a couple of really small holes into our marked areas so that we can secure this properly, since it's not a standard 120 millimeter times 3, it's 115. So now we need our drill.
Which
Alright.
you need to charge.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't think I've charged it in a while. Alright, Termites. Good to see you, dude. Thanks for coming back.
Now, before you start, are you using standard screws or the ones that came with it?
I'm using the ones that were included. So I'm going to add a little bit of pressure. If I add too much, it's going to bend. And here, you really want to just focus on going nice and steady. Until we get our hole started, and then we can start ramping up the speed. Alright, there's the first one. There are quite a bit of flakes, so it's definitely a good thing that we've got this here.
I'm going to tilt it back like this so it's...
Pull them into the bag area, and they're all just kind of sliding on the floor that we'll sweep up later. Gonna tighten the bit.
Careful, hot.
Well, not super hot. Nice.
Beautiful.
Okay. Continuing to rub all these, and then we're going to go over it with a damp rag to grab all the strays. Alright, we're going to do this again. I'll give you guys a slightly different view this time. Okay.
No bend.
Of course not. It's not about the pressure. I mean, it's half about the pressure, but you don't want to have too much. Okay, 2 more, and then 2 more, so we have 4 left.
Also, guys, it looks like he's coming at a strong angle. He's really not going perfectly straight.
Alright, we've got 2 more. These are the back ones in the corner.
Do you want me to hold the bag up for you?
No, absolutely not. This goes through your finger, and you're done for. Let's see. Trying to make sure I have enough space. Alright. What we'll do is...
Hold the bag back. Or do you want to tape it back?
No, use a, we'll use a clamp. Safety first, guys. So, these holes need to be placed really close to the back of the case, but the bag isn't really going through all the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a clamp. I thought I had a really big one.
I'll get it for you.
Oh, you know where it is?
Yep.
Okay, we're going to take a C-clamp like this, and we're going to shove it in here on the back side of this case, and then use it to basically hold the bag in place so that it's catching all the flakes that are going to come out. Because as you can see, got quite a few flakes collected down here already. You don't want these going near the board, and because it's been coming off of this rotating bit, they are a little bit magnetized, so we want to keep them as far away from components as possible. Once we get ready to take the bag out, we're just going to pull it from the top and slide it across the top and then slowly back away with it so that it doesn't get anywhere near any of the components. You know what, I'm going to come in from the top. That way I don't have this heavy thing resting on this case.
Hashtag no bend.
Hashtag no bend.
Keep it straight forward, guys.
It's going to be a while. There's a lot of clamp left. Alright. Just a tiny bit.
You're loosening? Or you're moving it up?
I'm moving it up and over.
You're over the hole now.
Yeah, I'm directly under it, which is fine.
If you're, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nope.
If I hit-
I got you now. Yeah.
Yeah, if I hit that, that's okay. But if the flakes get past that
Exactly.
point, then definitely not going to be a fun experience. So,
Don't think you'll be able to jolt through that steel though.
absolutely not. Which is okay. You can feel it starting to give way, so that's not a bad thing. Alright. We've got one more to do, and we're going to do that exact same thing. The clamp is already on here, so we're just going to loosen it a little bit. And bring it over here. Alright, now the bag is pressed all the way to the back on this side, and we can drill our final hole. Alright, hopefully those are big enough. If not, then I don't know what to tell you. What we're going to do is we're going to grab a paper towel, like the one that we use to shred when people subscribe, and we're going to get a little bit of moisture on it. Not even enough to drip. Thank you. And we're going to wipe the case away from the components. So away from the components. Don't wipe towards the components. You want to wipe away from the components. Don't even wipe towards the holes.
So towards the components.
Not towards the components. Almost got it.
A little bit more. There you go.
Alright. Thank you.
Still need that.
Alright. If you can possibly wipe away from the holes, that would be great. Just keep in mind you do have an open back here, so don't wipe too much. Alright, we're wiping onto the bag and away from the components. That way any loose debris will fall. Alright. Now, when we're removing the bag, go ahead and take the tape off the backside. Now we want to keep this upright. Start moving it towards the front of the case. front of the case. Front of the case. Just give it a big old hug. And pull it towards you. Wad it up. And discard it. Now take these out.
Question mark.
Yep.
Why would you need to drill those holes for that case in the first place?
Because the case is not the case is standard for size, but the mounting holes, the fans on this are not 120 millimeter. They're slightly smaller.
Next gen.
No, absolutely not. I consider that a real piece of shit engineering decision.
On the case.
No, not the case. I consider it a... Oh, I guess these are 120 millimeter. Actually, nope. Nope, they're slightly offset. Maybe they are, I don't know. It doesn't mount in the standard mounting position holes, so we had to mount our own. We had to drill our own. It would mount if we were using a smaller radiator and if he didn't have his top DVD drive. The problem is that his top DVD drive is in and we can't push it all the way forward to mount it the way it needs to be. So if you look,
What about all his RAM?
see, we could mount it here, but then his CD drive would stick out of the front. This is as far back as I can get it. If I push this in anymore, then the hole starts sliding out of place, and now we can't really mount it because it's still sticking out of the front of the case. It's still sticking out about ½ an inch. So this is about as far as I can get it before these holes disappear. So what we need to do is we need to get the CD drive flush with the case, which is right there. Now it's flush with the case. And the holes have disappeared, so we have to make new holes in which to secure our mounting, thing to. And we also have to mind that we have to plug stuff in back here. So I moved it about ½ an inch behind where it needed to be.
So would you recommend, after you made those case mods, say you needed to make them, but didn't, recommend plugging stuff in first or after you install the cooler?
I would recommend doing the mod first, then cleaning the case, blowing it out, wiping it down, blowing it out, wiping it down, and then installing everything else.
Cooler first or case?
I would do cooler first. Yeah, I would do cooler first, absolutely. Just because it's at the top. Or you can do cooler last if you... Or cooler second to last. I would do the graphics card last just because it's kind of... I always do graphics card last because it's in the middle of everything. Like, it really impedes your workflow when you have it there.
I agree with that, but for people management wise, that's what I'm mainly getting at. For your viewers, if they want cable management, what would you do?
I always do front panel wiring first, and then I set the motherboard on top.
Does it depend on case as well, or is
Also
that
depends. Yeah, it also depends on case.
Okay.
Okay, so let's set this here for just a second. Alright. Got our accessories. Here we go. So now we've got the screws that we're going to use. This is our brackets for the AM4, which we're not going to be using. Here's the brackets for the LGA 1366 and 11.5X, which we won't be using. Here's the bracket for the 1366 and 11.5X, which we won't be using. And the bracket for the LGA 2011 version 3 and 2011 OG, which we also will not be using. Alright, and the part that I've been looking for, we've got our screws to actually hold it in place. Looks like they're only providing us the short screws. We can do long screws, we're going to do those here in a minute. So what we need right now are the 8 short screws that we're going to use to secure it. I know we drilled 10 holes, but I'm going to see which ones work best for our design. 7. If we can put more than 8, that would be great. Helps with dampening the vibration from the fans moving. Okay, so there's the screws right here. Just gonna carefully hope that those don't fall while I put these in place. Just gonna put one in as a guide. So this hole is either just the right size or a bit too small. We're about to find out. With just a tiny bit of pressure, it should be sinking in, and it's not. So do this one more time. Thank you, Java, for letting me know you have yet another fucking update. I need another trash bag. And I need the bit that's slightly bigger than this one. I'll be right back, guys.
Where did those bits go? Are they right here? Oh, those bits. You got a new set of drill bits.
That is the new set.
They're already in here? No, there's a different set.
That's my old set. It's at the house. That's the set I just ordered. I've only had 2 sets. Alright. So I was using a 7/16, I think. This is a 1/8 now. So I was using whatever is just below that. I don't remember. Okay. I'm using a brand new trash bag. I don't want any of the flakes from the other trash bag getting in here. So don't skimp on the trash. It's a trash bag. If you can't afford a second trash bag, get out. Now, this won't generate nearly as many flakes, but making sure that all the holes are covered is still just as important. So I was wrong, it is 120 millimeter, but it doesn't have the case doesn't allow for it when we've got this top DVD drive in. So my bad. It's not really a big problem, but okay. I'm going to test this with one that I know is going to go directly into the bag area, the one I was testing earlier. Just trying to widen that hole a little bit so that I can see if this screw will go in now. It should start threading. Which it kind of did, but I'm not satisfied with how easy it was, so I'm going to go one step bigger. I'll let you know what the size is. Okay, so I was at 7/64 the first time. That test was 1/8. I'm gonna go up to 9/64. This should be the exact size that I need. I was a little skeptical about the 1/8 being the one I needed. Now, if you are gonna mod a case, I don't recommend doing it with the components inside. I also recommend you keep a sander or sandpaper around, or a Dremel with a smoothing tip, so that you can smooth down these sharp burrs. But there we go.
We'll tell them what type of case mods are the most common. Tell them what type of case mods are the most common.
Oh, there are case mods of all kinds.
But cooling is going to be the most standard, right?
Okay. Yeah, I think doing custom water loops are probably the most common right now that I see. Back in my day, people modded their case so they could hide their cables better.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. Because there was no gap in between the backplate and the thing. I mean, it was like, there was nothing. Actually, the very first time I saw case mods done were when OEM coolers started becoming more, or I'm sorry, with third-party coolers started becoming more advanced, and you actually had to have a backplate on there. So people would start cutting their case. They'd cut that square out in the back of their backplate where the motherboard mounts, so that they could add and remove as necessary without having to take their whole motherboard out.
You know, those motherboards.
And back then they were using tin snips.
Back then, were those motherboards, all their brackets, were they typically glued or taped?
The brackets were screwed on, same as. Yep.
Okay. You might be a 2000 XP era.
XP era.
XP era. Okay. So like my Dell Studio.
Way before that. Using this larger bit is producing larger chunks, but not as many. And these chunks, like I said, are kind of big. Alright, we've got 2 more. Pretty confident in the way the bag is laying for this back one over here. So I'm just going to do it. And this back one over here. You have the clamp?
Yeah.
So you know what? I can tape it off.
Just be safe than sorry.
I can tape it off.
Here just in case. Get it? Case. That one was bad.
Pretty bad.
That was dad joke level.
Okay. So this time I use tape to mask off that area. It is going all the way up and latching to the top here. There you go. Alright, now again, those bits are magnetized in most cases, so pull it up and away from your case. And discard it. Alright. Probably should have wiped it before I took the case, but literally nothing. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and mount this. Alright, we have 2 in. It's looking like it's going to be pretty good, guys. We'll focus on getting these right here. Nice. Now I had to eyeball these in the back, but I'd say I did a pretty good job. does help a little bit that the metal is slightly malleable. It will kind of bend its way for you. So once you get it in the hole, it will stretch open a little bit if it's not exactly over it. I'm going to make sure all these screws are facing the same direction. I'm just that kind of person. Alright. Now you don't want to over twist. Over twisting is bad. You will strip something because the metal is a little soft. So don't over twist it either. This is the one screw. Nope. It's going in. Now this one's starting to flake a little bit. Cool. Just caught it with my finger, put some pressure to it, it stuck on my finger, and then I moved it out of the way, wiped it on my pants. Alright, this is the last one. Aaron, come check it out.
Batman's about to beat the Joker, though. I've only seen it like 100 times.
There you go.
Okay, okay. I like it.
Of course you do. I did it.
And I'm out.
Alright. Now, it's not really necessary to remove the silver Sharpie because, I mean, there's just no reason to. So, the reason why is because we're covering this entire thing with the top panel. We're going to put this panel back. Oh, you know what? Does it give it enough room to breathe? Oh, yeah, it does. Okay. Whew. I was like, wow, that was a really dumb idea. So this top panel is perforated on the sides. So when you're doing a push or a pull configuration, it'll suck or push the air through this perforation right here. It's only on one side. The other side is completely blocked off, so it will not occur through this side, but it will occur through here. And through the back. There you go. Looks really good. Simple case mod, just like a little factory, looks like a factory installation there. So there you go. Take all these other screws, move them out of the way. And we did it all by measuring with a zip tie. If that doesn't make us badass, I don't know what will. Oh, this computer is just that much heavier now. Alright. So now we can see the installation of the all-in-one liquid cooler from Deepcool. And with this orientation, we'll be able to mount this. Should be able to mount it. Well, we'll figure it out. If we need to rotate it and turn it the other way, then we can certainly do that too, or we can have it snake like an S like this, with the cooling units just outside the range of the fans. Whatever works, we'll make it work. Okay. As you guys can probably tell, I'm a little tired. Miss my fiance. Haven't heard from her yet. Oh, wait, yep, she texted me. Bring home ice when you finally come home. I don't know if that's code for, like, she wants to watch X-Men with Iceman, or what that means.
Or ice road truckers.
Alright, we're going to go ahead and put the fans in. These are really cool looking fans. Really cool looking fans. The blades have this little cutout on the end. Nice looking stuff. I'm going to go ahead and put these in a push configuration. So it's going to push the air through and out. The reason why is because all these other fans are already in a pull configuration through here, and if I put these in a pull configuration so that they're pulling through the vent, it will conflict with the way that the air is traveling in through the case. For this installation, we're going to need these long screws. And for the best cable management, we want our cable to be on the bottom side when we install this fan. Well, that's a little frustrating. So they have a cable on there. By they, I mean the Corsair has a really thick piece of shrink tubing that is definitely not easy to manipulate, but just the right amount of pressure at the right angle, it should be no problem. You don't want it to click like that when you're trying to screw into something. You want it to never click, you want it to slow down and then stop. definitely won't be able to get that bottom screw in, but these three should be sitting pretty nicely, and we've got that pretty well secured. So, and these have noise dampening, noise and vibration dampening covers on them, so I'm not super concerned about the vibration back there. Okay. I'm going to switch the tip on my kit real quick to a P2 Phillips head. It's about the same thickness, but it'll allow me to get my screwdriver all the way down here. This is why I like doing the graphics card last. Let me go ahead and take this card out. Alright, our next fan is ready to go in. Now, I know this is probably goes without saying, but don't try to do anything cute with your arrangement of your fans, like 2 push and 1 pull, or 2 pull and 1 push. They all need to go the same direction. I hope that goes without saying, but I'm sure that there's probably at least one person out there that says, well, what if I do this? You will start to recirculate warmer and warmer air, and that's not a good thing for your cooling system. Should also go without saying, don't over tighten these. You can strip the metal that you're screwing into. It's more likely to strip the metal than it is to strip the screw for doing the fans. Alright, our third and final fan is ready to go in. We could take the board out and do this fan's little bottom screw right here, but I really don't think that's going anywhere. Now, to showcase build, if you're going to use it for showcasing stuff, I would definitely advise that you get every single screw. People look at these things. I'm sure there's contests out there that I'm not entering. But there's definitely a need for it in a showcase build. You don't want to be the guy that missed a screw looks like he didn't know that one was supposed to go there or whatever. Home build like this, not super concerned about it. Now these last two over here are going to be a little tricky. I mean, even with just those two, it feels real snug.
Yo, what's up? There you go. Hey, Danny. So question. Step outside so I'm not connecting next stream.
I don't think that's going to go in. You loosen these just a tiny bit. Guess we could install all the fans first and then put the radiator back on. Which I'm gonna have to do because I'm not happy with that. So it'll only take a couple minutes. Alright. Alright, so we have to undo the 10 screws that we did earlier. But we know they fit, so it shouldn't take long. Also give us a chance to wipe off any loose paint flakes that we may have gotten from tightening these down, which is good for the overall longevity of the build. Whoops. Alright. You're removing the last screw, support it. Otherwise you could twist the metal. And once it's twisted, it's never going to be normal again. Alright. quite a bit of loose paint flakes here on the bottom side. They all came in from the actual case. So now we can go ahead and finish mounting all of these. Start with this one. Go ahead and do the one that I missed on the far left side. And we'll do the one closest to the front. Alright. Just a quick test to make sure the fans can spin. Yes, they can. Alright, so we've got all of our fan wires coming out the bottom. The bottom is going to be the side that's now closest to the back. We're going to remount this. I left one screw in here just so that I wouldn't have to fumble around with trying to get this remounted. It goes right back up there. I'm going to do it so it's tight. That should hold it in place for me. Alright. I'm going to do the far back side because that's where most of the weight is right now. I'm going to do it across the way. Fight these back cables, but with just the right amount of tension. They make way with no problem. This one's a little tight. Two CPU power cables in the back are still giving me a little bit of a fight. There we go. That's perfect. hard to do left-handed, unless you're left-handed, which I'm not. Where is it hitting? Nope, that's my fault. There we go. Okay. Getting all these screws to have the same orientation, just like I did the first time. Alright, last one. Okay, the reason why I put them all in the same orientation is I know later on if somebody has messed with it. Oh, that wasn't working before, or whatever, you know? Yeah, tell me again about what you didn't do to it. Okay, so go ahead and lay it down on its side. It just keeps getting heavier and heavier. I think that's a sign of exhaustion. now we need to install the brackets for TR4. Where do we put them? There's 3. There's the lighting. Nope, it's the fan hub. We've had it, and now it is gone from us. Is it underneath the computer? I really have no idea where it went. It should be right here. This is a bunch of bullshit.
Bullshit detected. Take precautions.
Okay. Hey, just a second, guys. Gotta find this T4 bracket bag, which should be literally right here, because we just saw it. Just went over the bags that I had again, and it's not here. It's not here. Huh. Give me just a second, guys. Huh. So I'm looking at every angle and I don't see the bracket. It was in a bag. Did it fall into the case? So weird. Huh. Oh man, I think that's a sign that I should not be working right now. Super exhausted. Huh. Let me review the video up to this point real quick. Oh, that might take a while. But still, it's perplexing. It was here on the table with everything else. I think I know where it might have fallen. Give me just a second. That little bag has literally disappeared off the face of the earth.
Mark, you need help?
Yeah, I can't find the bag that has the components that I need in order to finish
What bag?
this build. So it's a small bag that looks like this.
1 second, Kyle. What's inside the bag?
It's the T4 connectors that I need. So
what's
these
it?
are Intel LGA 1366.
Did you take it
These
out of
are
that box? Or?
AM4, yeah. I even saw it on camera. So there's the LGA 2011s, but the bag that contains the brackets for the T4 are now missing, and they were on the desk a second ago.
Did you look at all these boxes?
They wouldn't have been on the box.
Did you move them now?
If I knew that, I wouldn't be looking for them.
Are they for the motherboard or what?
No, it's a clear. Yeah, it's a clear bag. Here, give me a second set of eyes.
Hey, Kyle, I'll call you back. Bye.
I think. It's like they just disappeared. The bag is like this size, and it's clear, just like this. It says T4 on it.
Clear bag that says T4. And you've already checked all this?
Yep. I don't know where it went. It was literally just here.
Did you check under your laptop? By your feet?
Yeah, I checked everywhere. I've been on the
It
floor.
was just here, or yesterday it was there?
No, it was just here. Like 20 minutes ago, I saw it.
I mean, I did throw a bunch of plastic bags that said T4 away, but...
Fuck you. You really, no. These are C-jacks.
Sorry, I know I'm double
When you move,
checking
when you move
checked.
the water, can you check over there? Because there's a plastic bag over there. No. We'll be right back, guys.
about the music for our routine.
Okay, so after reviewing the video, it has been decided that the bag we were looking for didn't exist. So we have literally torn this store apart looking for something that didn't have a place in here. So now we need to figure out how people are mounting this to the Ryzen processor. Just a second. Got a product manual, they've got a user manual. So the user manual So for the AMD side, it says AM4, AM3+, AM3, AM2+, AM2, FM2+, FM2, FM1. But everybody said that they've been using this and that it was compatible with Threadripper. So we need to get online real quick. Fun stuff. Oh, I play Clash of Clans for those of you that don't know that. Alright, we'll go to Amazon. This is the Deep Cool Captain 360EX RGB white. This is the one that we bought. Yes, I think it is. Are we logged in? Yes. It says AM4 bracket is included. Oh, that's AM4. So Sometime in 2018, they'll make a TR4 bracket. Let's see here. Alright, we're going to search for TR4 under the customer questions. And nobody said that it was compatible.
That HP customer looks way too happy by the way.
Why would this come up as a TR4 compatible search on Amazon when you search for TR4 cooler? Oh my god, I'm literally going to rip somebody's face off tomorrow.
Socket. Socket.
AMD socket from FM1 up to AM4, but no TR4. I gotta take it out. There you go. Alright, so I've hit my tolerance level for the night, so what we're going to do is we're going to call it a night. We're going to resume this tomorrow so I can finish it up. We're going to have to put in the Corsair H80i back into the case, replace his two top fans again, and call Amazon and choose somebody out, because we searched for TR Threadripper cooler yesterday when we purchased it. I have the video of it coming up. And we get it, we do all this work, and then we find out that it's not compatible.
I'd rather have fake news than fake advertising, people.
Really frustrating. So, for the 8 of you that are left, we really appreciate you for being here. Tomorrow we will finish up this build. It's just connecting a bunch of hard drives. And we'll redo the fan situation, all that stuff. Appreciate all you guys for being here. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Mark at Rad Computers. Catch you tomorrow. Peace out.